Hey you guys, welcome to Queen of Tea. For today's video, I've chosen a really interesting topic. It's about the biggest cities in the world. So we're gonna try and count and do a particular list on which of them is the most popular. Let's start off with the 10th place is Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Current population is 13,458,075 people. Almost 5,400 people per square kilometer are packed into this urban area on Brazil's coast. It's one of the most popular travel destinations in South America, and yet over 20% of its residents live in improvised conditions in almost 800 favelas, or so-called substandard district around town. On the plus side, though, population growth is slowing. In 2019, Rio de Janeiro was the 19th most populated city in the world. Number 9. Tianjin, China. Current population 30,589,078 people. The population of this is 12,000 people per square kilometer. Port city in northeastern China expanded by a whopping 188% between the years 1953-1982. Luckily, growth has slowed considerably since then. It expanded a mere 1.4% between 2019 and 2020. But it's showing no signs of leveling off or even decreasing. Manufacturing is the largest industry in the city and accounts for its speedy or constant growth. Oddly enough, China is also home of one of the cities you learned about in school and no longer exists. Let's move on. Osaka, Japan. Current population 19,165,340 people. The number of people living in Japan's food-centric and third largest metropolitan area is actually decreasing. It's dropped by 3% since 2019. But nearly 2,000 humans squeezed into the border Kansai region, which includes the city of Osaka. Of 27,000 kilometers makes for some tight living quarters. In fact, 7% of Japan's total population lives within an even smaller place in this region, in the city of Osaka proper and its 42 municipalities. Let's move on. Cairo, Egypt. Current population 20,900,604 people. Egypt's capital city has been settled at least since the 4th century due to its important location in the Nile River. After plagues in the Middle Ages and city-destroying riots in 1950s, it's since been growing in a rapid pace. Even its core city population is strangely high, 12 million, as stated by World Population Review. Alexandria, the second largest city in Egypt, is a mere 30% of Cairo's size. Of course, you don't have to travel quite to the richest city, rich with history. Try visiting one of the best cities in the world. This is one of the most that I recommend. Number 6, Dhaka, Bangladesh, India. Current population 21,005,860 people. Business Insider called Dhaka the most crowded city in the world in 2018. It's the only grown since then. Over 23,000 people per square kilometer, and an incredible 2,000 people per day moving into Bangladesh capital city. The reason for the influx, pure and simple desperation as climate change, expanded natural disasters wreak havoc on their hometowns and villages. Not surprisingly then, 1/4 of Bangladeshis live below the poverty line, with an estimated 3 million people living into the slums of Dhaka alone. By contrast, check out the smallest country in the world. Let's move on. Mexico City, Mexico. Current population is 21,782,378 people. An economic powerhouse, Mexico City is also one of the most populous and densest city in the world. In fact, 20% of the entire population of Mexico lives in Mexico City. Surges in growth have meant that in Mexico has had a hard time keeping up with the necessary services for its residents like housing, but there is hope on the front. The population only grew by 0.5% from 2019 to 2020. Let's move on. São Paulo, Brazil. Current population 22,043,028 people, the most populous city in the Americas, with over 1 11 million people living in the city itself into a sophisticated and ethnically diverse world cultural center that is also, oddly according to Forbes, home to 26 billionaires. It's also a city of immigrants. 81% of the students there were descendants of foreign immigrants, writes World Population Review of a recent survey on the University of Sao Paulo. This metropolitan area is projected to reach 23 million by 2030. If you're feeling a bit claustrophobic, just reading those numbers, we'd like to just suggest these small American towns that plan you to move there. Let's move on. Shanghai, China. Current population 27,058,480 people. Shanghai is the largest city proper in the world and one of the fastest developing for 20 years, seeing double-digit growth nearly every year since 1992, with the exception of the global recession of 2008-2009. Says World Population Review, and it's still growing even though the pace of that growth is slowing. Experts predicted these greater metropolitan regions will hit 50 million residents by 2050, which is sure to exacerbate all the problems that come with dense cities, like insuffocating infrastructure and population. Shanghai isn't likely to make the United Nations list for good countries, those making positive contribution on the world, anytime soon. Let's move on. Delhi, India. Current population is 30,290,936 people. Delhi, India's capital and the center of the government, is second to population and takes the lead in the most populated cities in the world. It packs over 11,000 people into each of its 1,488 square kilometers, and it's growing faster than almost any place else on Earth. In 2001 alone, reports World Population Review, its population increased by 250,000 due to natural growth and 285 through immigration. Its numbers increased this year by 0.3% over 2019, but still on track to hit a population of over 43 million by 2035. And let's move on to the first place, Tokyo, Japan. Current population is 37,393,128 people. Believe it or not, the largest city in the world actually saw a population drop of 11% from 2019. The trend is expected to continue, also to increase through 2035, so that 16 years from now, Tokyo will house almost 1.5 million fewer people than it does today. Needless to say, this is the kind of population trend that would benefit the rest of the cities on the list. Now, you know that what the biggest city in the world are, so I hope you enjoyed my video, guys. If you did, please subscribe to my channel and make sure to turn on the bell notification to get notified for any upcoming video. Thank you, and I might see you on my next tea drop.